Welcome Maurice and welcome to another unboxing. Let's get right into it. Here's the booklet for your instructions and the card at the back with all your details. The box itself, it has this outer sleeve which has a cutout that frames the Seiko logo nicely. Slide that off. We get some silver accenting with these little dimples or circular impressions to give a bit of detail to the watch box, but overall it's a very simple box, white with this khaki accenting. Let's open her up. Now here's the watch. We'll put the watch to the side for now so we can take a look at what else we get in the box. Now very simple, we get a pillow here, nice and soft, and it matches that green khaki color or olive color, and inside we get the tags, Seiko 5 Sports, and your usual barcode tag. Alrighty, let's put this to the side and we'll get to the watch. Here it is guys, this is the Seiko 5 SNZG09. Now this watch is coming in at 42mm and you will definitely notice the size when it's on your wrist, given how big this dial opening is. Now looking at the dial, we have quite an interesting composition here. We get a 12-hour scale as well as that 24-hour scale, kind of like the khaki field. But you also get your typical hour markers and indices in that chaptering. And if you look at it, it's a dramatic step. So you do get this contrasting look and a lot of depth from this dial with these two components of that outer chaptering and the main dial there. The color matches very well with the strap. You get this khaki olive military-like color, and it really gives this watch that field watch aesthetic and just overall design. You can see there the printing is very crispy, applied Seiko logo with the Seiko 5 shield to give a bit of flash. Everything else is kind of this matte look, so it will be under the radar and just a very tool watch approach to the whole watch, which is appropriate given the design of the overall piece. Now looking at the hands, we do get your typical pencil style hands, and they are bordered in white and loomed. And we do get here on the second hand a red tip. Now I quite like this red tip because it stands out against the whole green look, so it is easy to track, and especially when it's on a Sunday, it kind of matches the red tip with the red Sunday font there. Going back to that chaptering, I really like what Seiko has done here in terms of its construction. I was expecting it to just be like a flat edge and cut immediately into that center dial portion, but if you take a look, when I kind of shine the light through, it has this soft appearance to it. And it's not because of extremely rounded edges, it's because of this like sloping inner surface that nicely blends into that center dial, which really gives it an interesting look instead of being that flat edge. Now it also is a different shade to that center dial portion, so it is a little darker, which I quite like as it helps to border that dial much better, and it just helps to make it more interesting instead of just looking like one flat color. And it kind of ties in well with the strap when we get to it, because it does have two different shades as well. Now it does have Lume on the chaptering there, but the numerals don't appear like they have Lume, but you will find Lume on the hands. Now this chaptering also reminds me of kind of like an inner bezel, similar to that of a Longines Legend Diver, where it has that inner rotating bezel. This one here is of course a fixed chaptering, but it does kind of give you that illusion of like a diving bezel or a bezel within the dial. Alright, so I've moved to a darker room for this lume shot, and as you can see, the hour markers in that chaptering are loomed as well as the hands. Now it is good, but don't expect it to be as bright as some of Seiko's other dive watch lume offerings. And one disappointing thing about this lume here is that seconds hand. If you have a look there, it is a tiny application of lume on the tip of that seconds hand, so it can be a little hard to see if you're just glancing at the dial, given how small it is, and you won't see just how small it is on camera, because the camera is trying to focus on that lume and the brightness of it, but in person it is very, very tiny, and the luminescence from that seconds hand tip isn't as bright as it is appearing on camera. Taking a look at the case, it has this matte finish to it, which will eliminate a lot of the flashiness and reflectiveness when it comes to light. It also ties in very well with the whole tool watch and field watch aesthetic, and really just a classic shape to it. Very simple, very no nonsense design to the overall case, and it is what you'd expect from a field watch. It has that classic look, very recognizable field watch shape to it. Now the case back is polished, but keep in mind you won't see this polishing when it's on your wrist, so you will mainly get that matte look. Now on the case back, we do get a display window, so we can see into that 7S36 movement, and while it's not the most decorated, I think it's still cool to see the inner workings of your watch. Now this being the 7S36, it doesn't have any hand winding, so you will have to wear it on your wrist or move it around a bit to wind up the watch. So that is something to keep in mind with these older Seiko movements, but it is a workhorse and it gets the job done. It does what it's supposed to do. Now the strap is a fabric strap, but it's not a NATO strap, so you will see these gaps between the lugs when looking at the watch, and I feel like it is a little bit of a missed opportunity. I would have loved to see a NATO strap on this watch. The buckle is also in the same matte finish as the case to match, but it is overall just a very simple buckle. Nothing special here, to be honest. And if you look here, you can see the tang there doesn't even have a little indent for it to sit nicely, and it'll just keep scratching against the metal. So that is something to also be mindful of. And being how wide the strap itself is, I believe 22 millimeters, the buckle will also be quite wide. If you compare it there, the buckle is quite a large one, but it is rather thin in its construction. Now the strap itself, again, I feel like it matches quite nicely with the watch head, and having that green or khaki military color just helps to tie everything together to really give it that field watch and tool watch look. Now looking at some of the details, the strap does have this protective layer for the tang holes to reduce fraying, and it is done in this darker shade of green as well, which ties in nicely with the dial, because the dial also has differing shades of green within it. Now in terms of the strap itself, it is quite pliable, quite soft. It does look stiff, but it's not stiff at all. It is actually very soft, and as you can see there, very easy to just bend, so it will probably conform very well to the wrist. Here it is on wrist. Now I have about a 6.5 inch wrist for your reference, and this is a 42 millimeter watch. Now, as I said, the strap is very soft. It wraps around very nicely, and what I like about this is the rather wide holders here, or the keepers, which helps to just keep that strap in place. And I kind of like the look of it because of how wide the strap is. It kind of matches, and it kind of helps to match with that wide buckle. Very comfortable, no hot spots at all, and being a 42 millimeter watch, it kind of wears quite nicely on my 6.5 inch wrist. There it is, guys. That's my unboxing and first impressions of the watch. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more watch content. I'll see you in the next one.